Coming up on Hawaii's Best.
We're going to start our day over on the rocky coast by Makapu'u Point. There is a lighthouse up there. There are basically two ways that you can enjoy sunrise over here. You can start with the beaches across from Sea Life Park area. There's usually parking there. No one is there. You'll be by yourself if you go over there.
Today, Heather Eijenga, a professional photographer, joins the show, and she'll guide us through an incredible one-day itinerary exploring Oahu's Windward side. That's the east side. From capturing the perfect sunrise at Makapu'u to enjoying a peaceful sunset at Turtle Bay, Heather shares her top tips for making the most of your day. So be sure to stay tuned because Heather's going to give us her favorite local spots as well as some photography tips to help you capture your memories of Oahu. Let's go. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast helping travelers plan an unforgettable Hawaii vacation with insider tips and featuring local voices. I'm Brian Murphy, a husband, dad of 3, and certified Hawaii destination expert. Each week, I share local insights, travel tips, and up-to-date news, sometimes with guests across Hawaii and sometimes solo, all to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii. Welcome back to another episode of Hawaii's Best. So glad that you're here. You're tuning in. If you're joining us for the first time, just want to say welcome. So glad you're here. And I can't wait for you to hear some of these tips on this itinerary for the windward side of Oahu. Heather's going to give us some great advice and tips. It's an ambitious itinerary, but I think it's doable. Today, we are joined by Heather Eijenga. Heather is the owner and principal photographer at Little Bird Photography, where she combines her passion for family, nature, and the stunning landscapes of Hawaii to capture unforgettable moments. With a background in conservation biology and over 2 decades of exploring Hawaii's diverse ecosystem, Heather brings a unique perspective to her photography. Her work not only showcases the beauty of the islands, but also tells the stories of the families she photographs. Heather's notable contributions include her innovative approach to photography that blends environmental awareness and artistic expression. Today, Heather will share her deep knowledge of the east side of Oahu and give us tips on capturing the perfect vacation photo and why embracing the nature of Hawaii can enhance our appreciation for these beautiful islands. So let's go ahead and let's talk story with Heather from Little Bird Photography. What is it like living on the windward side of Oahu?
So I moved to Hawaii 24 years ago with my husband, and we always wanted to get to the windward side. We started off in town, and we would come over to the windward side because it always felt so magical. You come through the Pali, and you just see this beautiful landscape. You've got the steep mountains stretching down to, beautiful blue ocean. There's something about it that just feels really breathtaking. And it doesn't get old. I want to say, living here, the views are just stunning all the time. I always appreciate them. So it's a really wonderful place to call home. But because we now live on the windward side, I thought I might as well share my favorite part of the island with you. And I also think it's a unique spot to enjoy with families. The beaches here are more mellow than you get on the North Shore, less crowded than on the South Shore. West side also has very steep beaches with big waves. So it's kind of the ideal stretch to explore with family. It's really easily accessible. And the other thing is that you have a lot of diversity along the coast. It starts with lava and it's very dramatic. And then you end with nice sandy, calm beaches at the tip.
Yeah. And this list that we're going to go over, I know as you're listening to this, it might sound overwhelming, but it is doable in a day. You can probably split it into 2 days, but we kind of want to give it to you in a day, partly because there's not a lot of places to stay on the east side of Oahu. So more than likely, you're probably staying South Shore, Waikiki, or maybe you're staying at Turtle Bay, North Shore, or you're, on the west side in Kolina area. So we wanted to kind of give you the best of at least Heather did. I think this is a great itinerary. I can't wait to do this itinerary. I don't know if I can do it all in one day, but I think it's definitely ambitious and it is possible. But where are we going to start our day? I mean, I would assume we probably want to get a great sunrise in. So where are we going to do that?
Yeah, so we're going to start our day over on the rocky coast by Makapu'u Point. There is a lighthouse up there. There are basically two ways that you can enjoy sunrise over here. You can start with the beaches across from Sea Life Park area. There's usually parking there. No one is there. You'll be by yourself if you go over there. And you get a nice view of the point and the lighthouse from the distance, and you'll see the sun coming up over the water. But the more popular route is to actually hike up to the lighthouse itself. And so you can park right outside the gates and join the other morning people and make your way up that trail.
Right, because the gates there, that little parking lot, they open around 7, right?
Yeah, they don't open until 7, but there are a lot of people who are going to be lined up along the road over there.
Yeah, and that hike, that's one we've done many times as a family. It's paved, stroller friendly. You know, there's a bit of an incline, but there's places you can look out along the way that you can kind of stop and, you know, get the shot. So maybe let's talk about getting the shot, you know, doing this hike or maybe at a different spot along Makapu'u. What are some tips in how to capture the sunset maybe on your phone? Because most people are going to be having their phone, not a DSLR or anything like that. But how do you capture, you as a professional photographer, how would you recommend someone getting the shot?
I think for sunrise, and phones do a great job. I mean, they always say the best camera you have is the one on you. You can get great photos of sunrise just with a phone camera. One thing I would suggest is to go darker. So you could just kind of pull down the exposure. Just on the iPhone, I know you just touch the screen and you can drag it down. That's going to allow you to see more of the colors of sunrise. So that'll look beautiful. The only trick is if you're trying to get people plus the sunrise. I know when I'm photographing clients at sunrise, they always want to look at me when you have a really bright sunrise. And the problem is you need to have some kind of an external light in order to get people plus sunrise. The camera sensor is not as good as our eyes. So we may see, you know, person clearly and see the beautiful colors behind them. But what the camera sees is either the person is very dark and the background is beautiful or the background is way too light and you lose all of that color. So what I like to do for sunrise photos is just, you know, forget about having somebody looking at you smiling, but just try to get a silhouette. And so then you can get a really nice dark photo at sunrise. You can kind of place your people right where that light is magical, kind of right where the sun is, and you'll get a nice glow from behind them. You might have to get low to do this, but it tends to be really beautiful.
And if I want to capture someone's face, how would you do that?
Yeah. So for this one, because the light is still soft, right? And it goes so fast. Sunrise goes super fast. It's probably, 15, 20 minutes. It's not very long. So don't be late. If you want to get that nice golden glow on your face, you just turn around. So the light is now hitting their face. You're not looking into the sunrise, but it is lighting them up beautifully. And so then you get that nice feeling of sunrise, that kind of golden sunrise kiss on you. Some people are super sensitive and they can't handle that at all.
With eyes closed.
Yeah, they're just squinting. Even when the light is low, they're really struggling. Most people can do it. So you can kind of turn them at a 45 degree angle.
That's my mom-in-law.
Yeah, there's always somebody who's like, I just can't handle any direct light. So you could kind of put them at an angle and get like a little bit of a peak. So you're kind of at like a 30, 45 degree angle. The light coming up is just kind of at the corner of your frame. And then it's kind of a mix between the both. You're kind of splitting the difference. So they're not looking straight into it, but you're not straight into the sun. And anyway, it'll work out.
Yeah. All right. So we just took in probably the most epic sunrise. We captured it. We documented it. We're ready to go, but we're also in the moment of it too. Not just all about getting the shot. Probably want some coffee, right? Is there any spots over there that you would recommend?
Yeah, if you're anything like me, you're definitely ready for coffee at this point. There is a great little cafe over there called Kalapawai Cafe. And so it makes a perfect pit stop. It's just right off of the road. So you can make your pit stop there, get coffee. They also have some food for breakfast, and then you can keep on going, ready for more.
All right, let's keep on going. What's next on our list? Our ultimate itinerary of the windward side of Oahu.
Yeah, so this is tough. I'm going to tell you to drive right past Waimanalo Beach, and you see it to your right. I know, I love it too. You're going to see it. You're going to want to pull over there, but another time, because that one deserves its own full day. So
Sure, yeah.
we're going to be going to Lanikai Beach.
All right.
And there's a reason for this. Lanikai Beach is normally crowded. It's a small beach, and so just having, a couple dozen people out there feels pretty, I don't know, intrusive, I guess. But there's this little window after sunrise before everyone comes kind of to hang out and enjoy the beach for the day, where the beach tends to be empty. So because you had your sunrise down at Makapu'u, you had your coffee, you're getting there, it's after everyone is left. So parking is no problem. You should be able to find parking. Just walk out to the beach and you just may have it all to yourself. So it's kind of the perfect little window there to enjoy it and spend some time in a beautiful place without the crowds.
Well, I mean, that tip right there, that's worth price of admission for this podcast.
Maybe I shouldn't have shared it.
That's huge. Well, Lanikai, this beach is probably one of the most photographed. If you're wondering and you're listening, like, okay, what's this beach? It's the one with the two islets, the two mokes. They kind of look like twins out in the distance. It's the beach with amazing sand. It's one of the best beaches in the world, honestly. Typically, it is so crowded trying to find a spot to park. You mentioned parking a little bit, but finding that window after sunrise and getting to experience Lanikai almost to yourself, I mean, that sounds like too good to be true. But maybe just walk it through the parking, because for people who don't know, parking can be a big issue. So what are some tips on how to park legally in order to get to Lanikai?
Yeah. Make sure you are following all of the signs there, because the people who live in that neighborhood are plagued by visitors regularly, and it's become kind of a sore spot. And so they will tell you if you do anything wrong. So what I recommend is it's just off-street parking. You need to park in the direction of traffic, and you need to make sure your tires are fully off the road. If you're hanging out onto the road, you're at risk for getting a ticket. Definitely don't block the bike path. That's a surefire way to get towed. And if you follow those rules, you'll be fine. Don't block driveways. That's it. The only other trick is it is trickier to find parking on weekend, because now you have locals competing for parking with visitors, and there is no parking at all on holiday weekends. So don't even try to go over there on a holiday weekend.
Okay. So Lanikai, check. Probably the best beach you'll ever experience. And then we're going to go to another spot that is also super Instagrammable, famous. Where is that?
Yeah, so the next stop is Ho'omalagia Botanical Garden. And this spot I love because we used to live very close to the garden, and it kind of felt like our backyard. We were there so often. So Ho'omalagia is a great spot. You can spend a whole day there easily. There are trails to walk around. There's a lake. You can even go fishing, or you could just drive through it. It's free, so it's definitely worth a stop. And it's open from 9 to 4. So by the time you get here, it should be, 10. Depends on how much time you're spending at each place. But I think you can make it here by then and get some beautiful shots, maybe stop and wander around a little bit.
I just want to pop in here and say, if you found any value in listening to Hawaii's Best, is to simply follow the podcast on the app you're using right now. If you're on Apple Podcasts, just tap that little follow button in the top right corner. It's that easy, and doing so helps more people like you who love Hawaii find the show. And now back to the episode. Yeah, this garden, I mean, it's beautiful. It's that one as you drive in and the Ko'olau Range it's framing, and you got palm trees on the side, and this is like the most beautiful road in the world, really. It used to be plagued by tons of signs. I remember visiting pre-signs on that drive, and I probably one of the best pics I've ever captured was actually just driving along slowly and just, framing it up and grabbing a shot of that drive. But what's the current situation and how to maybe still get that shot of that drive into the gardens?
Yeah, that entrance to the garden is iconic and definitely worth capturing. I'm happy to say that they've toned down the signs a little bit. They used to have bright orange cones, but now it's not as bad, so you could still get a beautiful photo. They do not want you to stop, so you could take a photo hanging your phone out of the window. Maybe you have a convertible, that would make it easier. Or if you really want to get the shot, you could plan to arrive before the park opens at 9. There are a couple spots right outside, and then the gate has an access point for pedestrians. So you could just walk in. It's a beautiful spot to go for a run or walk before you get any of that car traffic in there. So that's what a lot of people in the neighborhood do. And so you could just pop in there and get some photos of the entrance before it opens.
Gotcha. All right. So what time do you think it is? You like probably late morning?
I guess late morning. Yeah, I know. This is maybe an ambitious itinerary.
Okay.
But if you have time, I feel like the next stop is worth it. This one is just a beautiful, beautiful temple tucked very close to the Ko'olau Range. It tends to be very moody and dramatic and quiet. It's called Byodo-in Temple. And there is a small fee to get in. I think it's $5 for adults, maybe $2 for kids right now. But it's a small fee to get in. It's not a place you're going to spend a long time, but it is just beautiful. The only trouble with this spot is if it gets too late in the day, or if it's really like an unusually hot day, you may want to skip it because the buses come here in the middle of the day. The buses are dropping off, dozens of people at a time, and it gets really crowded and it takes away from the beauty and the feeling of the place.
Okay. So it's time for some lunch now, yeah?
Yes.
You got any favorite spots?
Yes, I do. I think my whole family would say this is their favorite spot to eat is the Waiahole Poi Factory.
Cool.
It's just a small, unassuming spot along the road on the Windward coast, and it has all local Hawaiian food, and it's all good, and it's all something different. So, you could just get a sampler plate and try everything. I will say, don't forget to get dessert there. They have the Fat Lady of Waiahole, and it's ice cream and kololo, and it's amazing.
Awesome. All right. So after lunch, we're going to keep on going, and where we're going to head to?
The next stop I have is Kualoa Ranch. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because the only way to really get in there is to schedule a tour. So I would say you could kind of base your whole morning around an afternoon tour here.
Oh, okay.
And then
that makes sense.
Then you can try to schedule it, or you could make it a little bit later in the day, depending on how much time you want to spend at different parts. But I would say this has got to be my favorite place on the whole island. Any chance I get to kind of get into this valley, I take it. They sometimes will have races in there, and I've done a half marathon in the valley just so I could enjoy it. It's that good.
That's cool.
They have a lot of different tours. If you have small kids, you could do something more mellow, like a bus tour. And if you want to do something a little more adventurous, my personal favorite is the e-bike tour, which is really fun. And then the ATVs are also really fun. But definitely try to find a way to squeeze a visit to this valley into your itinerary. Even if it's the only thing you do on the Windward side, it's my favorite. I love it so much.
Okay. Well, that's important note to make because, if someone's getting this list and thinking, okay, maybe I could skip that one or maybe not. This is probably one of the stops that you don't want to miss, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it's pricey, but I think it's absolutely worth it. I love this valley.
Cool. Okay. All right. So we just tore it up on the ATVs or the e-bikes, and we're going to keep going up the coast. What's our next stop?
What you're going to find is that you're going more and more country. So you've got little small beaches off to your side. Feel free to stop at any of those, but the one that I'm recommending is not a beach so much as a lookout. This is a short stop up in Laie, and It looks out onto a little island offshore, which is all limestone, and it has a hole in the middle. So it's called Hole in the Rock. It's a spot with great views of the Windward coast. So you can kind of look back and see where you've come from and get that whole mountain view, coastal view. And it's also fun because usually there are kids jumping off the cliffs into the water down below. So that's always fun to watch. So yeah, this is a good spot.
Great. Sunset. We're almost there. First of all, where are we going for sunset? But then second of all, how do we prepare for sunset and where do we kind of just wait?
My favorite spot for sunset is up at Turtle Bay, which is a resort, but there's the grounds have like a nice rocky outcrop that you can kind of follow out. And so you can actually see sunset from that outcrop, sunsetting over the water. And you're still kind of right on the tip of the windward side. So it's a really beautiful spot and you can see the waves over there. If you want to keep it low key, I recommend stopping for poke at one of my favorite places on the island, which is a really tiny little convenience store in Kahuku. It's called Kahuku Superette. It's just right off the main road. You can grab some poke bowls there. They also have all the food trucks right past that. And the food trucks are always changing, but you'll see things like the famous Giovanni's shrimp truck. It's nice to go to the food trucks because there's something for everyone. So if you have picky eaters, and everybody can kind of get their own thing. So you could pick up food and then head out to Turtle Bay and kind of make it a sunset picnic.
Yeah.
Or you could be a little bit fancier and just go to the resort itself and have drinks or have, dinner at the resort. So you can park there. They do have public parking. Of course, if you're going to be eating at the restaurant, then parking isn't an issue either. You could even valet park if you wanted to be extra fancy. Over by their pool, they usually if there are just great views of sunset right from the pool area. And that's where you can get your food and your drinks. And they usually do an evening show. So they'll have the ceremonial torch lighting, and then they'll have someone come in and do a little bit of fire dancing as well. And so it's kind of like a free show to end your day.
Cool. What tips would you have on capturing it, like photography wise? Sunset, is it similar to a sunrise, or how would you do that?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as sunrise. Okay. It's the same deal.
Well, what's your favorite to shoot? Like sunrise, sunset?
Oh, gosh. The thing I like about sunrise is that you usually have empty beaches. So it's kind of a special feeling where if you want to have a little bit of solitude, it's nice. If you're shooting sunset, sunset usually is a little bit warmer, it seems like. So it does have a little more color, but you're fighting with crowds.
Yeah, people.
So it kind of takes away. So yeah. Everybody's got their phones out and they're jockeying for a good space. And yeah, so I think I like sunrise, even though I hate getting up early. I think I'm a sunrise person.
Yeah. Do you have any tips on how to get back to like resort areas? You go back Kamehameha Highway, or do you travel through this, center H2? How would you recommend?
Yeah, at this point, you're at about the 50-50 mark if you're in Waikiki.
Right.
So you could go either way at that point if you want to go back. It's a slow winding road. If you're curious and you want to see a little more, you can drive along the North Shore and then you're taking highways back. I don't know. I kind of prefer the slow kind of meandering roads personally. And so I usually take that way.
Oh, cool. All right. Is there anything else about this route, these spots that you feel people often overlook or should pay attention to? Maybe like general tips?
There are so many different areas, like smaller areas that you could stop and explore. And I've tried really hard to cram in like the highlights just so not to overwhelm everyone. But, like this side is really pretty, I would say, but it is called the Windward side for a reason. So the weather comes in and we tend to get dumped on before it goes over the mountains and is nice and sunny in Waikiki. So I would say if you're going to plan this as your itinerary, check the forecast before heading over and make sure that you pick a good day. And then if you're not excited about getting up at sunrise, I would say it's not as bad as you may be thinking, just because most visitors are coming from the mainland. And so you're going to have jet lag as your friend for the first few days. And that's going to help you're going to be waking up early anyway. So might as well get out and enjoy it.
Heather, obviously, you know a lot about the island, especially Windward side. And I know a lot of people traveling, a lot of families, they want to capture the moment. They have the phone, but they want to maybe this is a once in a lifetime trip for someone, or a reunion or whatever. And they want to get the shot and they want to be able to put it up on the wall and frame it and the whole thing. And I know you as a professional photographer have obviously a lot of expertise, not just in your craft, but where to go and just how to best capture the moment. Where can people find you? Maybe they want to book a session or just learn more about you and what you offer.
Yeah, I love making everyone's life easy and taking those photos off your hand, especially when I get big family groups and they try to do this themselves.
Just bring a tripod.
That's too much. You don't want to do that to yourself. But my goal for families is to kind of show you a spot that I think will fit your personality. So you're not just, I don't want to take away from anyone's time on vacation to do something that's not fun. So I make it fun. So I find a place that fits your personalities and we go out and we play games and we explore. And then you get to take home, these great memories along with the beautiful photos. I love to do that for people. You can find me. My website is hi, like Hawaii, like hello, hi, hilittlebird.com. And it's Little Bird Photography.
And if someone does this itinerary or a version of the itinerary, I'm sure hey, meet us at Turtle Bay or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, for those listening, we will link all that up. You don't have to remember how to do that. You can just scroll down to the description of this podcast and then click on the link and learn more about Heather and maybe book a session for your next trip to Oahu. Heather, anything else that we missed that you think would be important for someone to know? Visiting Hawaii, visiting Oahu, any of the neighboring islands?
Most important is to just get out of Waikiki, get out of your resort for at least one day and go explore and, see what the island has to offer.
Well said. Heather, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian.
And that wraps up today's episode of Huge Mahalo to our guest today, Heather, for sharing her expertise and stories about capturing Hawaii's beauty through her lens. Heather's insights on connecting with the environment and preserving memories with photography are invaluable, I think, for anyone visiting the islands. For those who wish to see more of Heather's work or book a session, please visit her website at hilittlebird.com. You can also go to our show notes page found in the description of this podcast. We'll link out to Heather's website there, and as well as all the resources that were mentioned during this episode. Thanks again for tuning in today. And until next time, my friend, be well. Aloha. Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, hit follow on your podcast app. Hawaii's Best is a production of Shorebreak Media Group with editing by Easy Podcast Solutions and music courtesy of our friends Stick Figure.